My name is Gerald, and for 28 years, I thought I was living the American dream. I worked as a senior accountant, while my wife Lauren climbed the corporate ladder until she became the CEO of Meridian Technologies. One Tuesday afternoon, I decided to surprise her at the office with lunch from her favorite Italian place. At the entrance, a sign read, "Authorized personnel only." When I told the guard I was the CEO's husband, he actually laughed. "Sir," he said, "I see Mrs. Sterling's husband every day. There he is, coming out right now." I turned to see a man in a charcoal Tom Ford suit, confident, expensive watch catching the light, walking through the lobby. The guard called out, "Mr. Sterling, your wife is still in her 3 o'clock meeting." My heart misfired like an old engine. I didn't make a scene, I just pretended I had the wrong building, and walked out before my legs could give out. The investigation and the secret apartment. I didn't go home. I sat in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to process the fact that Frank Sterling, Lauren's VP of operations, was being called her husband. That night, while Lauren slept peacefully, I went to her study. I found a silver key in the back of her jewelry drawer. Attached was a tag. Harbor View Apartments, Unit 214. The next morning, I drove to that luxury complex. In Space 214, Frank Sterling's Mercedes was parked. Inside the apartment, I found a fully furnished home. It smelled like Lauren's expensive perfume. There were photos on the mantle of Lauren and Frank at the beach, at restaurants, on hiking trails. In every picture, Lauren wasn't wearing her wedding ring. I found a folder labeled "Future Plans" in her handwriting. Real estate listings for houses in the $1 million range, all circled with notes like "Close to Frank's parents." Underneath it all were divorce consultation summaries dated from 18 months ago. She was building a case against me, reframing every normal marital argument as evidence of my inadequacy. The financial treachery. As an accountant, I knew where to look for the paper trail. Our joint account showed consistent deposits, but our savings account was missing over $250,000. She had been using our marital funds to support her secret life, paying the $3,200 monthly rent for the apartment and $24,000 in furniture from high-end stores. But it went deeper. I looked into Meridian Technologies' corporate filings. Lauren had been quietly restructuring the company to position Frank as her successor. She had redirected capital expenditure budgets to Frank's department without board approval. This wasn't just an affair, it was corporate misconduct and potential fraud. I spent the next 48 hours downloading 3 years of bank statements and investment transfers, building my own exit strategy. The emergency board meeting. I called Richard Morrison, the chairman of the board. We met at my house, and I walked him through everything: the apartment photos, the divorce planning, and the financial irregularities. Richard's face grew darker with every revelation. Lauren had a fiduciary duty to the shareholders, and she was using company resources to benefit her lover. An emergency board meeting was called for that afternoon. I wasn't there, but Richard called me at 5:47 p.m. Frank Sterling had been terminated, effective immediately. Lauren was placed on administrative probation, her authority severely restricted pending a full investigation. The board hired forensic accountants to do a complete audit. She had built a house of cards, and I had just knocked it down. The final confrontation and the new morning. Lauren came home at 6:15 p.m., earlier than usual. One look at her face told me she knew. She called me every name in the book, screaming that I was destroying her career. I just kept stirring the vegetables for dinner. I told her I'd shared the truth with the board, and I was done pretending. She tried to negotiate, offering money and the house, but I didn't want anything from her. I showed her the future plans folder taken from the apartment. The silence that followed was the first honest moment we'd had in years. I left that night and checked into a hotel. The divorce took 4 months. Lauren was forced to resign in March with no golden parachute. Last I heard, she and Frank broke up after 3 months. He blamed her for ruining his career. Neither of them took responsibility for their own choices. Now, 3 years later, I live in a quiet condo in Lakeview. I'm dating a woman I met at a bookstore who knows my whole history and chose me anyway. My life is small, simple, and honest. And you know what? That's more than enough. It's everything.